one of the best examples of how things that trend on Twitter don't translate to sales or views or ratings, I would like to point to Batwoman. Now, this show, if you were to just go by what's hot on Twitter, you would think this is the hottest show in the world. That this show is huge. Everyone's watching it. Millions of people gather around their television sets on Sunday to sit down and watch the greatest television series ever created. Well, I'm going to tell you that that's not the case. Now, for some reason, AT&T has renewed the show for another season. I'm very baffled by this, but excited. It's going to get 20-something episodes, which I think is a blessing. That is amazing. I'm excited about it. Every week, at least, we're going to have one thing to talk about guaranteed, and that will be the ratings of Batwoman, because I got to tell you, the show is awful. It was awful last year. It's been awful this year. I don't even want to talk about last night's show because it was awful. I couldn't even finish it. The week before that, I had to take like 40 pauses because the show's just horrible. The music's horrible. The writing is terrible. It's one of the absolute worst shows I've ever seen. Okay, and I don't understand how that's possible because the comics are actually pretty good. So it's like, if you just stuck to the source material, you might have had a good show, but instead they had to do this woke, virtuous show that nobody wants to watch. It's quite embarrassing. But for some reason, season 3 is coming. We're going to get 20-something episodes. But here's the thing. The ratings continue to tumble down. So last night's episode dropped 200,000 people. We went from 700,000 people to 500,000 people. These are the worst ratings I believe the show has ever had. We can reach back here, and you could see all of season 1. Not one time did the show hit 500,000. It's embarrassing. Look here. The lowest it ever got last year was 634,000 people. Okay? You got a little bit of a spike here when you introduced Hush, but for the most part, they stayed at a consistent 600,000 to 700,000 people. Now you go to season 2. For now, okay, you managed to pull in that 600,000 to 700,000 people that have consistently watched the show. I think it's pretty fair to say they've consistently held about 700,000 to 600,000 people throughout season 1. They lost a lot more. They started with almost 2 million. I mean, the ratings drop for this show has been hilarious. But now, for the first time ever, they've dropped to 500,000. They almost dropped under 500,000, which would have been friggin' hilarious. So look at that. I'm still blown away by this. I really thought that this show was going to at least spike at 1 million for its first episode because everyone would be curious. No, they didn't bring anybody in. So they've managed to pull in no new people with this. Okay. The show's quality has nothing to do with the actress or anything else or any of the identities of the characters. The show is just god-awful. It is terrible. It's absolutely one of the worst written shows that I've ever watched. And that's why people are dipping out. And it's funny, it's got all the help in the world from Twitter. Twitter trends it every Sunday. And like I said, you would think that this show is a smashing success, but that is not the case. This is really bad. So look at all these episodes that we have. They gave it almost a full season. So we get all of this and another season. Holy hell. That is going to be, how low can this go? Do you think it's possible that they drop down to 300,000 people? Man, that would be something to see. I don't think I've seen a show go that low. So I think it's possible to see that with Batwoman. It's highly possible. And let's be clear, all of these CW shows are shit. I can't wait to see Superman and Lois. I'm hoping that one's good, though. I like Superman a lot. We'll see. I don't have high hopes for that show, though, because it's the same old shit with CW. So this is a huge drop. I was really shocked. I was expecting it to kind of still hover around this past 3 episodes, but the show has gotten worse since last year. So we'll see what happens. In some other news, The Equalizer. No, not Denzel Washington. Queen Latifah. This show actually had a big spike because it came out after the Super Bowl last week. Now we have episode 2, and it actually had a huge drop, 82%, but it still got almost 8 million people watching it. This will be an interesting one to watch. I actually love those 2 Denzel Washington movies. I haven't watched this show. I guess maybe I will, and I'll see if it's actually any good. They actually retained a lot of people. When I see Queen Latifah, I don't see The Equalizer. I've never seen the old show, so I don't know what the old show is. I just like those Denzel movies. I think they're really good. I don't see The Equalizer in Queen Latifah. I think Denzel Washington. So I don't know. Has anyone watched this show? Can you leave comments and tell me if it's any good? I was just curious to how the change in the ratings would be. And 8 million people is a lot. So now I'm curious if the show actually is any good. So maybe I'll check it out. As for Batwoman, in closing, before we take off, I want to point out as well that originally with Season 2's ratings, they were blaming football. They were blaming the NFL for the reason that they had bad ratings. And yesterday's episode went up against no sports. Maybe NASCAR? But, I mean, come on, that's not NFL ratings. So, yikes. I don't know what they're going to do. It's going to be embarrassing if this drops down another 100,000 people next week. Maybe it'll go back up. Somehow, I doubt it, though. So, bad days for the CW. They better hope that Superman and Lois show is a hit. Something tells me, though, it's going to be a big bait and switch, and it's going to be about Lois Lane. I still think that could be a good show, though. But like I said, I'm not holding my breath. The writers of the CW are terrible for every show. The Flash is pretty much the Iris show now. They did a bait and switch with that show. It's barely even about the Flash. It's about Iris. I don't want to watch anything about Iris. I want to watch the Flash. So I have a feeling that Superman and Lois is going to be the Lois show. And it's going to be everyone bashing on Superman, stupid, toxic man, you got to go. So we'll see. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think about all this. I'd like to hear from you. Also, if you would, please like, subscribe, share the video. Make sure you're still subscribed. Hit that notification bell. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace. Also, if you want to help support the channel, check out my Teespring store. There's a link in the description. You can find some merchandise in there that you might want to check out.